Hey guys, Team Pokemon here. In today's video, we're talking about our top 10 rarest catches of 2024. 2024 has been filled with shiny, Shundo, Hundo catches left, right, and center. It's been absolutely crazy this year, and I can't lie, we've had some really awesome stuff. So, we've also already broken records by miles, which is absolutely insane. I mean, we broke our record for most shinies caught in a year in July. Like, that's absolutely crazy, and we're already adding to that record, and maybe we'll be able to get a total shiny count of like 3,000 plus shinies this year, which is crazy to think about. But if you guys want to see a video like that, let me know in the comments down below going over all the shinies in 2024 so far. I've been thinking about making one, so if you guys want to see it, let me know. But let's get into the top 10 rarest catches, because we've had some rare stuff this year, including Shundos, Hundos, Shadow Hundos. Let's talk about this one, though, because it's a Shadow Shiny, tiny shiny Shadow. It's just absolutely crazy. This one actually happened this weekend, funny enough, but we had a tiny shiny Shadow Lugia, and I think it's easily in the top 10 list, as, I mean, we only had one weekend to go ahead and take advantage of it. Some people couldn't even get the raids done, and I was able to get a tiny shiny Shadow, which I'm so stoked about, which honestly, I love huge and tiny shinies. We've had a lot of them this year, which has been amazing, but this is definitely one of my favorites, as it is one of two tiny shiny Shadows in my entire collection, and it's definitely something you don't see too often. I know it's 1 in 20 odds, but really, I mean, these raids, to even get the shiny from them at times, can be difficult to shadow raids. I've had times with Raikou, for example, I went 0 for 74 before I got my first shiny Shadow Raikou. So you can definitely go dry on these shadow raids, unfortunately. But we got lucky enough to get a ton of shiny Shadow Lugias, but this was definitely the best of the bunch. And then we move on to number 9 on the list, and it's a Shadow Hundo Excadrill. Now, this is a very useful Pokemon for PvP, raids, and stuff like that, but also, it's just super awesome getting a Shadow Hundo. You can see we started off the year nice and fast. On the 4th of January, we got this. It was absolutely insane. My first ever Shadow Hundo, and it came in 2024, and there was definitely a few more this year as well. But when this happened, I screamed. I did not expect it at all. I just caught a Drillbur. I always do the ground type grunts, as Drillbur is pretty useful, and Rhyhorn is in the second slot, which is also pretty useful. Sometimes you get Diglett, though. Not so useful, but I mean, 2 out of 3 absolute savages, and then you have Wooper as well. But I was super stoked to go ahead and get this. I mean, I love Shadow Hundos and Shadow Pokemon, and just to be able to get something like this, very cool. How do you follow up a Shadow Hundo? You follow it up with a huge shiny costume wand. This was a really cool shiny find from Madrid, Spain, aka Go Fest Madrid. I couldn't believe the find. You can see in the body we had Leah, Saint, and Adri that were with me when I caught this. I screamed. I could not believe it. We were about to cross the road, and Saint goes, I think it was Saint that was like, oh no, I think it was Adrian that said, oh, huge Espeon over there. I'm like, where is it? And I found it, and boom, it was a huge shiny, which was just absolutely crazy. Again, I told you guys, I love huge and tiny shinies, and to be able to pick up a huge shiny costume Espeon, it definitely deserved to be on this list at number 8. Definitely could argue it could be higher, but I mean, hey, you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did I mess up any of these numbers? Should something have been higher? Should something have been lower? You guys let me know, but definitely stoked about this huge shiny. But we go from a huge shiny to a tiny shiny, and here's the other tiny shiny Shadow. This one coming from a leader, so it's a little bit more rare, as it's 1 in 64 odds. And I still can't believe we got this. This was on Mewtwo Raid weekend, and I absolutely screamed when this thing popped up on the screen. I couldn't believe it. I love, again, huge and tiny shinies, and there's going to be a lot of them on this list, as they are quite rare, because you just think about it, usually Mons are at least 1 in 64. You multiply that by the fact that a Hundo is usually 1 in whatever chance in the wild. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's quite rare, you know. From raids, it's 1 in 216, I believe, or something like that, or 264. In the wild, it's a lot higher than that, right? So to be able to, you know, mix that together is pretty cool, and to get a tiny shiny Shadow, I was so stoked. So thank you to Sierra for bringing this one in. From a tiny shiny to another Shadow Hundo, and this one again happened relatively recently. And the reason why I had to put this on the list, as it literally just released as a Pokemon in Shadow form. Like, it literally just released the day I caught it, 8/8 right there, August 8th. That's the first day Shadow Archen was ever available in Pokemon Go. And I got a Shadow Hundo, which was absolutely crazy. So I definitely would say this is one of my rarest Pokemon, as it's a very new Pokemon. Not a lot of people probably have this Shadow Hundo, if any, you know. So, like, it's pretty awesome to go ahead and be one of those people to have it. So I'm definitely stoked about it. Honestly, just a really cool Pokemon, and I didn't know it was as useful as it actually is. It's actually a top 10 rock type attacker while also being a good PvE, rock type Pokemon. So definitely stoked about picking this one up. I can't lie, and I absolutely just couldn't believe it. Like, it was just bam! Whenever you see a Shadow Hundo, it just catches you so off guard, no matter how prepared you are. Unless it's like a Pokemon like Dratini or something where you know the CP. Like Dratini, I believe, is 226 in its Shadow form and non-Weather Boost. So, you know, that one, if you see the CP, you get hyped. And for example, Machop was one of those where I realized, I was like, wait a second, is this the Shadow Hundo? And this one right here definitely caught me off guard. I was not ready at all. Into the top 5, and we have another Shadow Hundo. I know these things are, you know, taking over the top 10 list, but let's be honest, they are super rare. But we got ourselves a Shadow Hundo Ho-Oh here, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, Ho-Oh is just a cool Pokemon as is, and get a Shadow Hundo Legendary, a lot of people can't say they've done that, and I've been lucky enough to get one, which I'm very, very stoked about. Maybe I'll get another one day. Who knows? If it's Mewtwo, that'd be amazing. Or Rayquaza, that'd be amazing. Or Groudon, or Kyogre. I don't know. Any of those would be amazing, but this one I use all the time in PvP, in raids, against, I remember against Arlo when he had Cacnea, this thing literally two-shotted the Cac, two moves, and it was gone. It was crazy, but very, very happy to have this thing in the collection. Definitely one of my rarest Pokemon, and to make this even crazier, the day after from the same exact gym, I got a Hundo Landorus Therian form, which was insane and very useful. Both of them I actually had on the same PvP team for a long while in there, and they were absolute beasts together. They are just absolute monsters. Stuff you love to see, but very, very happy to have this one into the collection. But now we're getting into the rare stuff. This is the top 4, and we got ourselves a Floor IV. Tiny Shiny Dialga. Yes, it's a Tiny Shiny Legendary, and as you saw there, it had the LA background, which is absolutely amazing. That is the one exclusive to the in-person events, and it's a tiny Shiny Legendary, which, again, this was my first ever one. The Lugia was my second ever one, which was the number 10 on this list, but this one's Tiny Shiny with the background and Floor IVs. Gotta be pretty awesome there, you know, I can't even lie. Definitely one of my coolest finds. But now it's time for the top 3, as we got ourselves a Tiny Shiny Pachirisu. He's right there. Hey, that's weird. No, I'm joking. I thought a little bit. I thought that would be funny. Hopefully you guys like that. But Tiny Shiny Pachirisu, one of my rarest shiny hatches, if not my rarest shiny hatch I've ever had in Pokemon Go. I've never hatched a Shundo, but I've hatched this guy, and he's absolute a beast. He's not that great on IVs. I mean, 14, 10, 15 is actually not horrible, but to hatch this right in, it was right as we were leaving the event. It was absolutely crazy. It was my first ever shiny Pachirisu. And it was a tiny shiny, like what? And it's just a shiny that I think a lot of people are still hunting. Like, I think this is a very rare shiny still in the game. And to have it in a tiny shiny form is pretty insane, you know? So I'm pretty stoked about that one. And it's a small Pokemon anyways, so to get it as a tiny shiny, it just fits perfectly. Now, I only let... Now, we've had a crazy year when it's come to Shundos. I've had 6 Shundos this year, but I only allowed myself to put 2 on this list because... or else all 6 of them would be on this list. But this one was probably the most iconic of them all. First raid on raid day, Marissa, the 4-star, aka Shundo Kyogre, which I am just so stoked about. I still can't believe this is even a thing in my collection. Kyogre is an absolute beast, and he's chilling up there with next to the shiny Dragonair, which is funny because, like, you know, shiny Kyogre kind of mixes the colors, but we love to see it. A Shundo in Pokemon Go from a raid, my first ever one in that instance, and I can't believe it was such an amazing Pokemon for it. Like, genuinely, Kyogre might be one of my, like, just absolute favorite, like, in terms of legendaries. Like, it just looks like a beast. All the Hoenn trio look like beasts, you know, but just absolutely insane. So happy to have this thing in the collection, and yeah, we had to max that thing out, you know. Now, if you've been following the channel for a little bit now, you might have known what number 1 was gonna be. It is none other than Rachel Rocky, the Shundo costume Piplup. This was absolutely an insane moment when it happened. You can see right here it's from a trade. It was a non-lucky trade. It was just a normal trade with somebody I was 1-star friends with. That's the Rocky part. Shout out to Rocky. But it was just absolutely insane. And unfortunately, I didn't get my live reaction to this because unfortunately, it was just a normal trade. I didn't think anything of it, and it went Shundo. Is the only time that's ever happened to me. I just couldn't believe it. I literally screamed so loud, and it's what started the Shundo train of 2024, as we're now 6 Shundos in on the year, when I only had 3 prior to this year, so absolutely insane building that Shundo collection, but I was so stoked to have this, and I couldn't believe it when it happened. We actually had a few mods there and people there that watched it live, so shout out to you guys. It was absolutely crazy. John was one of them. And I still can't believe that this is in the collection. Like, I genuinely just, I don't know, like, what to think of it. Like, it's just, like, absolutely insane. It's exclusive to an in-person event while being a Shundo, while just, I mean, like, it's just insane. Like, just coming from a normal trade. The odds of that happening are so slim, and I just couldn't believe it. We had the best buddy in it. We maxed out the level 50. It's not at all usable, you know, as a Piplup at level 50, but it had to be maxed out because it's a Shundo. Yeah, I maxed out all my Shundos, but yeah, I also allowed myself, like I said, only 2 Shundo spots on this list. If I could include all 6, I would, like the Turtonator and the Necrozma. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, what Pokemon do you feel like was snubbed from this list? Like, was my Shundo Necrozma definitely supposed to be on this list from a lucky trade? Should I have put like a functional Shundo, the huge shiny Buzzwole, something like that? You guys let me know, but hopefully you guys have had a great year so far, and let me know in the comments down below, what is your rarest catch of 2024? But make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We'll see you in the next Pokemon adventure, and we'll see you. Pachirisu will see you. Gyarados will see you. Master Ball, let's go. Hey, I'll see you guys next vlog. Ooh, peace.